Hello, and welcome to History Unboring. Now, a very common topic on the internet is the Emu War, a topic which I came across when thinking of an idea for this video, but I decided I'd put a twist on it. Rather than talking about the real history of the Emu War, I would talk about its internet history. However, before I get into that, I know many of you are looking at your screen and saying, "What's the Emu War?" Well aware that I cannot hear you. And for that, I have an answer. A brief explanation of the Emu War. You see, the year is 1932, and Australia's emu population is migrating back to Western Australia, only to find that it is being inhabited by farmers. These farmers were former World War I veterans for Australia. Upon returning, Australia bought land for them and gave them farms. And from that land, they did. They built fences to protect it, but emus are pretty big birds, and they easily broke through the fences, allowing them to munch on the farmers' crops. And anything they didn't eat, rabbits, exploiting the holes in the fences, would eat. So to solve this problem, Australia went to this guy, George Pearce. But who's he? George Pearce was the Minister of Agriculture. No, I'm kidding you. Why would they go to the Minister of Agriculture? Agriculture is lame. They went to the Minister of Defense to save their farmland from birds. I'm not kidding you. And what genius idea did George Pearce come up with? Take 2 machine guns and shoot the emus. The idea is you just mow down a couple thousand of them over the course of a little while, and then not only do you save the crops, but you can do other things with them, like use their feathers and feather hats for the military. But here's where things get even funnier. Not only did Australia declare war on their own national bird, but they lost. You see, it turns out the emus can actually take a couple bullets before dying. And once the military started opening fire, the emus ran away anyway, so they didn't have time to inflict fatal doses of bullets. In fact, George Pearce compared the emus to tanks, saying that if the Australian military had the bullet carrying capacity of emus, that they could take on any military in the world. That is just insane. But when does this start getting popular? Well, it turns out the Emu War's popularity started way before the internet, in 1932, during the events of the Emu War, where the press had 2 options. They could make a story about how Australia declared war on their own national bird and lost. Or they could talk about the depression that's been ravaging the country for the past, 3 years? Again, for the 500th time? They decided to go with the Emu War, because apparently birds getting shot and not dying is a lot more exciting than being reminded of how broke you are. But then the popularity sort of died down a bit, until 2004. Well, its popularity was still kind of low, but this is when somebody made a Wikipedia page about the Emu War. And if you look at its edit history, you can see how big the file for the Emu War was. How much data did it have on it? And assuming that Wikipedia pages with more data are more popular, And over time, as popularity grows, and the amount people add to the Wikipedia page grows, we can graph the amount of data the Emu War had on Wikipedia and see how popular it was. Starting in 2004, its popularity was kind of low, but then it exploded in around 2009. And then the graph kind of flattens out. In fact, it goes down a little. On a normal graph, I imagine this probably would have been a small spike. But remember, this is a Wikipedia page. People aren't going to take away information. The other theory that I came up with was that the popularity didn't go down, but now that it was popular enough, people were refining the information a little bit and cutting out things that weren't true, making sure that random people didn't add giant chunks of information. In fact, the popularity could have gone up a little. Regardless of what happened, around 2016, the popularity started to rise at a steady rate. And that's how it is today. Bringing us to 2009, during the popularity explosion. What happened? What caused it? Well, this 2009 also happens to be around the rise of social media. You see, now, people could see this funny story about emus, just like the reporters in the Great Depression. But this time, they could take that video and they could share it all over the world. And with the click of a button. In this modern digital age, information spreads like wildfire like that, causing trends and popular subjects like the Emu War. But what about 2016, when things started to rise again? Well, it all comes back to social media, but a certain platform, YouTube, the very platform you're watching right now. Unless you pirated my video and are watching it on some other platform. Then I'll have to track you down and find you. And oh wait, wasn't I talking about history? Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyways, 2016. This is the year that one of the first more popular videos about the Emu War, made by Salmonella Academy, was made. And then later in 2018, the absolute legend of a history YouTube channel, Oversimplified, made a video on the Emu War. Both of which are good videos to watch if you want a bit more information on what actually happened, along with extra history. Links in the description. But that concludes our video. And I imagine that the Emu War isn't the only trend that started this way. I imagine many other trends follow the same path. Anyways, subscribe and hit that bell. Also, check out my other videos. See you later.